Hi, welcome to Theatre World, and I'm your host Tim Byron. Over the next few weeks I aim to take you through the process of putting together a play in the community theatre world. Now, I'll take you through the auditions, through the rehearsals, the dress rehearsals, the production, and we'll even have a talk to the audience members as they leave. And the aim of the show is to try to show the wider audience just how a community theatre production really is. Now, most people will think community production theatre will have an audience that looks something like this, when in fact a community theatre audience will probably look more like this. Now, some people think community theatre acting will look something like this. Toby, or not Toby, you can't handle the truth. When in fact real community theatre acting looks more like this.
I'm not 16 anymore. It was never my intention to frighten
All right.
you. Never meant to frighten you.
Fine.
Now, the first production we're going to follow is Face to Face, which was done by the Sherbrooke Theatre Company. Now, Face to Face is a play that was written by the prolific Australian playwright David Williamson. And the first step in that process is the auditions, which we'll go and have a look at now. Hi, we're here with the first auditionee, which is Jacob Pilkington. Jacob, what role are you auditioning for in this play?
So I'll be auditioning for Luka Mitrovic, Jack Manning, and possibly Glenn.
You're going for 3?
Yes.
It's very ambitious of you.
Yes.
What other theatrical work have you done before?
I was in a production of Lost in Yonkers by Morialek Theatre Company, and I've worked with Verve Studios for the last 3 years, doing 5 performances with them.
And have you done any preparation for this role?
Yeah, I've read through the script a lot, and I've sort of tried to bring in some of the accents that I think sort of suit the personalities.
And are you nervous?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jack.
I had a few drinks first.
How many?
A few.
Would you say you were drunk, Glenn?
No.
Would you say you were sober?
No.
Sort of halfway.
Yeah.
So after a few drinks, you went to Greg's house. Was he there?
No, he hadn't arrived back from work.
So?
Parked opposite, waited till he pulled into his drive, and went right up to his house with me bull bar.
What were you feeling at the time?
Great. Crumpled like bloody cardboard.
Well, you've been a little dethroned today, mate, haven't you? Wages go up $2 an hour.
Newsletter.
Profit share, account disclosure.
I'd like to hear Ian read Richard, so we might jump over to page 29. There's a bit of dialogue between Luca and Richard, and Jacob, I'll again ask you to have a read of Luca. Thank you.
We're doing as little as we can to get away with, because you're paying us as little as you can to get away with.
Hi, we're here with Face to Face director Deborah Fabro. Deborah, we've just finished the audition process. How do you think it went?
Look, it's been interesting. I had some good readers along, both this session and the previous one, and I think I'll be able to cast some of the people that have come. There's a couple of characters that I'm still looking for that I actually didn't get people to audition along to auditions. So, but yeah, I'm pleased with what I've seen.
And what is it that you're looking for? I know it's a broad question, but what are you looking for?
I guess the main thing that any director looks for when you're at auditions is someone that's actually read the script, has an understanding of the play, and can show me in auditions that they can actually create the character. And actually one good thing with this show is getting people to read different roles. I've been able to see whether they can actually be different in each of those roles, and a couple of the auditionees have been quite good at doing that. So,
all right, well, we look forward to seeing who the lucky auditionees were. Thanks, Deborah. So the audition process came and went, and unfortunately Deborah wasn't able to cast all the characters. There was 4 characters that still had to be cast. So in the world of community theatre, we aren't able to go to casting agencies. So Deborah put the word out and asked people that she'd worked with before if they would consider working on Face to Face. And as I had worked with Deborah before on 2 other plays, she asked me. So I have gone from being host and observer of Face to Face to being cast in the role of Jack Manning. So from now on, you'll see me as host and Jack. There were 3 other characters that were cast up to 4 weeks after auditions. So I guess what this goes to show is that casting in community theatre is not always an easy process. Community conference. Now before we start, let's introduce everyone. You all know Glenn Tregaskis. Some of you might know his mother, Maureen. Or Barry McLean, a long-time friend of Glenn's from right back in their primary school days. Greg Baldoni, the owner and manager of Baldoni Exhibition Constructions, and his wife Claire. 2 of Glenn's workmates, Richard Halligan and Luka Mitrovic. Greg's personal assistant, Julie Roster, and his accountant, Therese Martin. So thanks to all of you for making the effort to come. This is a difficult matter, but the fact that you're all here together will help us work out how you want to handle it. And we're going to try and focus on the incident itself, which happened outside Greg's house at 6:05 on Tuesday the 9th of June, and which involved Greg and Glenn.
Hi, I'm Hayley Lawson-Smith with Theatre World, and I am interviewing Deborah Fabro from Sherbrooke Theatre, who is directing Face to Face. Hello, Deborah. How are you today?
Hi, Hayley. Thank you. I'm good.
Good. Now, I'm wondering, who picks who? Does the theatre pick the director, or does the director pick the theatre?
It's a little of both. Generally, directors are approached by a theatre company, but as a director, you can choose whether you go to work there or not.
And do you present the theatre company with a script that you would like to put on?
Yes, companies generally ask for sort of 3 or 4 plays, and sometimes across different genres.
All right.
And then they select it from that.
Deborah, where does your love of theatre come from?
I went to my first live performance when I was about 4. My mother took me, and she's been taking me to the theatre right through my childhood, and she and I actually still go to the theatre together.
That's lovely.
It's just been an ongoing thing right through my life, both as a audience member, but also as a performer from late primary school.
Now, do you do a bit of acting as well?
I used to, not so much these days.
Do you find that your experience as an actress or actor also helps you be a better director?
I think you have a better understanding of how it is for the actor. So when you're asking them to do something, you know how you would feel if you were actually performing. So
Great.
yes.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, Deborah.
Thank you.
Hi, as you all know by now, my name's Jack Manning and I'll be convening this community conference. But before we start, we'll do some introductions. I'm sure you all know Glenn Tregaskis. Some of you might not know his mother, Maureen. Or Barry McLean, a long-time friend of Glenn's from his primary school days. Greg Baldoni, owner and manager of Baldoni Exhibition Operations. His wife, Claire. Richard Halligan, a workmate of Glenn's. Therese Martin, the company accountant. Luka Mitrovic, another workmate of Glenn's. And in the end, Julie Roster, Greg's personal assistant. Well, thank you all for coming today. This is an important matter, and the fact that you're all here today will help us work out the best way to work this out. Now, we're going to concentrate on the incident itself, which happened outside Greg's house at 5 to 6 on Tuesday the 9th of June and involved Greg and Glenn.
Claire, I'm really sorry. I gotta go.
Julie, the main agenda here today is what happens to Glenn. I'd really appreciate it if you would stay too.
It was stupid right from the start. Claire, I'm really sorry.
Now, I do need you to move over
Sorry,
a little because...
So I'll go to here and then you take to Claire?
Yeah,
Right.
because we don't want to mask Luca
Yeah, okay.
to this line.
So, Claire, I'm really sorry. I've got Claire, I'm really sorry. I better go.
And Julie, the main agenda here today is what happens to Glenn. So I'd really appreciate it if you would stay too.
It was stupid right from the start. Claire, I'm really sorry.
Maybe take a step towards her.
Oh, Claire, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Claire, I'm really sorry.
Jesus, is there normally so much freaking hugging and shit?
Yeah, a bit of hugging's pretty normal.
I hope he gave you more excitement than he ever gave me.
Hi, I'm backstage here with Alistair Rice. Alice is playing the role of Greg Baldoni. So Alistair, how are you coping with the role? How are you finding it?
How am I coping? That's a big question. The director wants me to be more bombastic.
More bombastic?
Yep. Which is more aggressive, and I'm having a bit of trouble finding the role at the moment.
Right.
I think I probably got close a couple of times in today's rehearsal, but yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Hopefully another week or so I'll hit the nail on the head.
Is there any similarities between Alistair Rice and Greg Baldoni?
Not a lot, actually.
You haven't had any affairs or anything? No.
I'm not going to disclose those at the moment. Not with the amateur theatre people around.
No.
No, not really. I teach, and I suppose one of the great things about teachers is they're very calm and patient, and we don't get a lot of bullying within teaching establishments, and I think Greg Baldoni is a bit of a bully. He's certainly aggressive, and as you say, he's had a few affairs, and I haven't done any of that.
No. It's
There's still time, though.
Yeah,
There's still time.
You've still got a few years left. Now, it's interesting you say that you teach, because some people think that amateur theatre actors are full-time actors.
Ah, well, yeah.
It's not you, obviously.
They could say that. Amazing how a lot of people who teach, they front up every day in front of a group of children, and I suppose we're doing the same when we're on stage. It's a different genre, if you like, but teaching's quite a bit of acting, I think.
So how long have you been doing amateur theatre?
Good question. I think I started about the mid-80s back in the UK. I worked in 4 companies over there, and my parents started off a theatre company in 1953. So I didn't do any when I was a kid, playing a lot of sport, but I used to go and watch Mum and Dad on stage, so I guess it's in the family, but in the blood. And my brother does a lot as well locally, so yeah.
Have you got a tally of how many productions you think you've done?
No, probably 40-ish, 50. Yeah.
Favourite production?
I did one called Eloise and Abelard back in the UK a long time ago. I'm way too old for it now, but I'd love to do it again, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
What else? Since I've been here, I did a play called Little Voice, Rise and Fall Little Voice at Heidelberg, which was good fun. So those two immediately spring to mind.
Would they be your favourite roles or favourite productions?
Favourite roles, I think. Favourite roles. But I mean, a good thing about amateur theatre is there's so much good theatre around Melbourne that, if you pick out a role and want to challenge yourself to something different. And this one is a challenge. So.
And one last question. Who's your favourite colleague in this play?
You are, Tim. Oh, no, Claire,
right.
Claire, my wife, yeah.
Alistair, thank you very much.
A pleasure.
Here we're on stage again. This time we've got Chris Perkins, who's playing the role of Claire Baldoni. Chris, how are you finding the role? You're getting comfortable with it now?
Yes, I must admit it has changed a bit since I think I first read the script, and you think about the character and what's in her background and what's led her to where she is today, but as we're rehearsing it, it's changing. The backstory is changing a bit. So a little bit longer and I'll have it nailed in.
Down pat. Have you worked with Alistair before?
No, I haven't. In fact, I haven't worked with anyone that I'm working with in this production before. Everyone here is new to me.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. You go, hello, Alistair, or hello, husband. So it's quite a bit of a culture shock straight away.
So is that awkward to come in and play somebody's husband that you've never met before?
Well, it obviously takes a bit of time to get comfortable in that role. Even though the relationship we have in this play, there's no big passionate love scenes or anything, but even holding someone's hand or putting their hand on your knee, you feel the need to ask permission first when you don't know them. But as you get further into it, you realise that that's what it takes, and the more you get to know each other, the easier that becomes.
True. And what other theatre companies have you worked with?
I've worked with a few. I go around a bit. I've done 3 at Williamstown, and other than that, I've done Melbourne, Heidelberg, 1812, Athenaeum, places like that. So I kind of spread myself around a little bit.
That's good to hear. And out of all those roles in all those theatre companies, what's been the most challenging?
Look, in regards to amateur theatre, I guess I was a late starter. I've only been doing it for about 13 years, and in that time I've only done 8 plays. This I think will be my 9th. I think at one point they've all been my favourite, particularly when you're doing them. Yep. You just love them. I must say, this is my second David Williamson play. I had done Don's Party before, and it's very nice when you can concentrate on what's going on and you don't have to worry about an accent, so I do like doing Australian plays.
It's good. I think this is the first play I've done since the first one I did 3 years ago where I don't have to do an accent or a stupid voice, so
And
it always
take-
makes it a bit more...
And it does take a bit
pleasurable.
out of that for me, and sometimes I feel that I have to put so much effort into that that, you know, I lose some of the other stuff, so I do like doing plays without an accent.
And do you have a certain number of productions you like to do a year, 1 or 2? Or?
Look, I usually do about one every 18 months or 2 years. I'm a bit slow in that regard. But they're very consuming, you know, usually for 3 months of your life. It takes it up, and particularly if you're working full-time as well, it can be quite...
It does. And that's what people may not understand, that you get your time taken up with the rehearsal. Like today we did a 5-hour session.
Yes.
A lot of time taken up with rehearsing, reading your lines and getting to learn them. And so it does feel like almost like a full-time job for 3 months, as you say.
Oh, look, I'm so impressed by these people that can go from one to the other. I don't think I've quite got that in me.
No, it's not me either. Well, Chris, thank you very much for joining us.
Not a problem.
Thank you. So I'm here at the Doncaster Playhouse here in Doncaster on a lovely Melbourne spring day, or so you would hope. We're here for Bump-In Day. Most people say, what is Bump-In Day? Bump-In Day is when the set has been unassembled or disassembled, I'll look that up later, at the rehearsal venue back in Croydon where we've been, and reassembled here in Doncaster. The term bump-in, apparently I am told, means people are bumping into each other. So we'll go back and have a look and see how an assembly of a set goes about it. I'm here with Loretta Bishop from Sherbrooke Theatre Company. Loretta, what is exactly your title role?
Look, I'm production coordinator of this production.
Good.
Yeah. So what that basically entails is ensuring that the process is smooth.
Right. Has it been going smooth this morning?
We've had a few hiccups.
I have sensed a bit of tension in the room.
Yeah, there has been a bit of tension, but that's okay. I'm sure we'll iron that out.
Is it normally like that?
Look, generally no. Oh, look, there are always, every production's different, obviously. We always have different issues that do arise.
Yeah.
So this one's probably no different, but we do, it's probably been highlighted a little bit more this time around.
And what number production would this be that you've done a bump in for?
Oh gosh, Tim, that's... I probably prefer not to say. I probably give away my age, yeah.
And would this one to me looks relatively simple. You put the flooring down, a few flats at the back. Is that an untrue comment?
Very untrue.
Okay.
Very untrue. It's been a lot of work. Look, we happened to borrow the flooring from another theatre company, which is great, but because it's masked, it's so fragile that we needed to ensure that it's kind of stayed all together in one piece.
Well,
so
I think we got some before where they all come falling apart.
Yes.
But that's all right.
Yes.
Now, the one burning question that hasn't been answered for me is, how does Sherbrooke Theatre Company rehearse in Croydon, perform in Doncaster?
Yeah, look, if going back in time, they used to perform in the hills, and as time went on, they had to move. They got kicked out of their old place. They went to TAFE in Wanturna. They got kicked out of there. So
have they got a reputation?
They have got a reputation. So Doncaster, they've been here since about 1990. So basically, now is our home. But
it's a lovely theatre here, isn't it?
Look, it's very intimate. It's a 100-seat theatre or 99-seat theatre, and it's very, very intimate. And audience do like actually being on stage basically feels like they're on stage with
Yeah.
the actors. So
It is good. And I notice there's a dearth of actors here when it comes to doing the bump in. Is that always the way?
Always.
Always. That's terrible.
Oh,
All right.
look, I must say, there are some fantastic people who are actors who do come along and do support the bumping process, and it just depends, I suppose, what's going on the day. Yeah.
Now it's 1 o'clock, you're about to have lunch.
Yeah.
What time do you think you're going to get out of here?
Oh, we've got booked until 6.
Right, okay.
I'll tell you
Fingers
tomorrow.
crossed. Lovely. Loretta, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. As you all know by now, my name is Jack Manning, and I'll be convening this community conference. Before we start, let's introduce everyone. I'm sure you all know Glenn Tregaskis. Some of you might not know his mother, Maureen, or Barry McLean, a long-time friend of Glenn's from right back in their primary school days. Greg Baldoni, owner and manager of Baldoni Exhibition Constructions, and his wife, Claire. Richard Halligan, a workmate of Glenn's. Therese Martin, the company accountant. Luka Mitrovic, another workmate of Glenn's, and Julie Rossiter, Greg's personal assistant. Well, thank you all for making the effort to come here today. Now, this is a difficult matter, but the fact that you're all here will help us work out the best way how to handle it. And we're going to focus on the incident itself, which happened outside Greg's house at 6:05 on Tuesday the 9th of June and involved Greg and Glenn.
And we're here with Leslie. Leslie, tell us, did you enjoy the show today?
I certainly did enjoy the show. A very interesting play, and I think the cast did justice to the author and also to the director. Really a very enjoyable afternoon.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mike, what did you think of the show today?
Very good, very good. Very professional and typical David Williamson, I think. It's very complex and convoluted, but really very good, very well done.
Fantastic. And were you impressed with the performances in particular?
Yeah, I was actually. I was impressed. There was very wordy, as always, with his plays. They're very wordy, so there's a lot of remembering have to be going on, to make it right. Word perfect and that sort of thing, and this is only the second or third night, so they've done well. Good, well done.
Thank you very much. Harriet, what did you think of the show?
Well, it had a lot of swearing.
How did you enjoy the show today?
I thought it was fantastic.
Tell us how you enjoyed it, Pam.
Well, I just loved it. My husband was a scaffolder, and it's very, the language and everything like that, while it might be colourful, it just was so true to the way the building site works.
Tell us, how did you enjoy the show today?
Very much. Always enjoy coming to Sherbrooke players. Always interesting.
Yeah, no, it was a great show. Very good performance.
So you two are regulars with Sherbrooke Theatre Company?
Reasonably regular, yes.
Yeah, we've come a long way to see this show from Mount Eliza. So.
Then, just minutes after the production is finished on the last night, and even before the actors have time to change, the conscientious crew start to dismantle the set. So after watching all of Theatre World so far, if that's piqued your interest in getting involved in community theatre, you can always go to the website www.theatrecraft.com.au, upon which you'll find all or many of the productions being shown around town at the moment. Also lists auditions. Another website that lists auditions is www.justauditions.com.au. Well, that takes us to the end of the show. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.